Hey, Lois, remember the time I
Peter,
destroyed half of Florida and killed 30 people?
Peter, you can't kill the people, Peter. That's murder, Peter. That's murder. Does she have a Brooklyn accent? That's murder, Peter. That's
Moida.
that's murder, Peter. I haven't actually watched
Yeah.
that in forever. I haven't.
I remember it
I don't
being
remember what
funny
her
when
voice
I
sounds.
was not developed in the brain, so
Yeah. Uh, Family Guy, which is supposed to be an adults show, uh, very consistently is found entertaining by children, and they grow out of it by the time they're actually an adult. Okay, let me
yeah.
remove. Okay, it should work now. Do you see any controls?
Nope.
If you click the hamburger icon next to your. Can you see one next to your own name? If I type something, can you see one next to mine?
Um,
Well,
yeah.
whatever. You should see a hamburger icon and it should have options there. Okay, anyway.
Cool.
Hopefully we won't need it, but good walls make good neighbors, as they say.
You can't build the wall, that's racist. Oh, the
Good walls
wall
make good
kept me
neighbors,
in
I say
out.
again.
Awooga.
That was a Robert
So,
Frost reference.
I don't know
I'm
who
so
that
cultured.
is.
What?
I don't know who that
Xo.
is. That sounds like a fairy tale guy's name. Robert Frost. He comes and he makes the winter happen. He
Wait,
puts
that
the
is his
frost
name,
on
right?
all the grass.
I'm not retarded, right?
I don't. Well, I don't know. Maybe we're all retarded.
Yeah. Maybe we're all retarded. We are on the short bus.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to
Maybe
see the
some of you
wiener?
can hear what's going on in the background. I tried to go to a spot where I know there's no ambient noise. I did turn it down really far though. I'm not gonna use this key.
Huh?
If someone who is really experienced in Dark Souls 3 might be able to hear the sound of the fire in the background and know that I was in Dark Souls 3.
Oh,
So
cool.
I haven't done this in forever, so I'm probably gonna suck. 1 second, I
Get
gotta
him.
open something and have it inside.
Kill them all. What's that sandwich? Kill them all.
I could finish that reference for you, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna leave you hanging.
Gonna be sad.
I'm trying to look
Yeah.
through our list.
Um.
Okay.
So we've got more.
Oh,
We got another Ashley video.
yes, the Ashley thing. Some people specifically requested more Ashley related stuff in the stream, so we'll do that. I'm waiting to see if there's any more people coming though. If anybody's in the chat, sound off. But yeah, we had one more thing. Is yours? Hold on. Where's your screen?
Well,
You're not streaming to me.
oh, am I supposed to?
You had a thing, right?
Yeah. It's not Ashley related though. It's just
Yeah, we were gonna do that first before we did the other stuff.
retarded. Okay. Let me show you.
So yeah, speaking of famous women on the internet, except on the other side of the spectrum, on the opposite side of the room from Ashley, we have Lainey, good old Lainey. We all love.
Yeah. From Art Laney, made.
This looks like it's different from the original. It looks like it's more artistic than the original, actually. How many liberals does it take to change a light bulb? Their gender. It's like one of those memes that like boomers would post on uh what's that one
I don't know, how many
Twitter
levels of
alternative?
irony can you bury something under before it stops making sense?
I don't know. You can have infinite levels of irony. By the
Okay, I
time you
should have
get to
added an
like
Among
six or
Us.
seven, no, no, this is perfect how it is. By the time you get to like 3 or 4 layers of irony, you can't tell the difference between one layer and the next, though. Scholars would debate about which layer it's on. But this is like something that like conservative boomers would post. Their
Yeah,
gender.
how many
on oh,
liberals does it? Yeah, you know the
Parlor. That was what
original
I was
joke.
gonna say. Parlor.
Parlor,
Yeah, the thing that nobody uses anymore because it got
because it
paused and
was,
its whole purpose in existence was gone.
yeah, our purpose is to not be censorship, and then we get censored ourselves.
Yeah, with all of these alt tech things, if any website's whole purpose in life is to be the not YouTube or the not Twitter or not Facebook, and then they bend the knee and start censoring their stuff, then there's no point in using them anymore. That's like the whole reason to use them.
Yep.
I haven't played
Yep.
this for the last few months. I was playing Elden Ring a bit. I haven't gotten that far in it, but it's a little weird to get used to the Dark Souls controls again. I feel
Is this Dark Souls 1?
no, this is 3. I feel weighed down not having my vertical jump anymore. Actually, let me use this spear for you.
Elden Ring, you can jump around like a spider monkey.
Yeah, kind of like Zelda. They decided to add actual normal jumping all of a sudden after they're like a few games in. Off to a good start. I'm not ranked yet though. You can see I've got a nice brown sticker there because I haven't done PvP on this character. And this is a level 130 character, which is considered to be like the meta where you stop at and you just leave it there. You don't level up anymore. And so I'm playing with a bunch of other people who are doing the same thing. So I'm probably going to
You
lose
stop?
a whole bunch. What?
Why do you stop?
To get matched with other people around the same level. Because my other character was like level 400 or so. And then you don't get matched with very many people. Because it only lets you fight people near the same level. I think this is actually harder though, because there are more people who are doing the same thing. I don't know, maybe. It's kind of a pain not having as much stamina or HP as well. There's lots of people on though, because it's Sunday night. Saturday night. My brain's broken right now.
Saturday.
Saturday night's
My
alright
brain's
for fighting.
We'll
Oh, God.
tag this
Gosh,
video
it's this guy
Mind
again.
Break. Shortbus episode 2029. Tag in the comments, hashtag Mind Break.
More like Mein Kampf. Ha! Hey Lois, I wrote this book called Mein Kampf.
Peter, that book name's already taken, you fucking idiot.
This is just like the...
Oh,
Oh man,
Peter.
this is worse than the time I got invaded by Russia.
Hey, Peter. Remember the time? You got invaded by a scythe man.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha, boy.
can
This
see
is the
his
time.
dot.
I'm gonna finally get revenge on you.
Finna get
He's
revenge.
congratulating me.
I'm finna kill you.
I'm finna kill you.
Finna bust. Hey, stream your game to me.
This requires all my bandwidth, though. Can't you just watch it 30 seconds late?
Yeah, but you'll say something and I'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You make a compelling argument. I'll just do it with very, very low settings.
We'll just sacrifice the quality of the stream.
Good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is anybody here yet?
Nope.
Sound off in the chat if anybody's here. I don't want to talk. I don't want to get into the meat until we have people watching.
They might try to watch afterwards.
Maybe, yeah.
A bit light.
Yeah, maybe some people have a life on. Oh, I keep forgetting to take off my ring. I'm wearing my freaking chastity ring still. Keep forgetting to take it off. I keep forgetting to take off my damn chastity ring.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he bowed to me and I didn't bow to him. It's too late now.
Classic.
Oh, there's Andrew.
Mistake. Andrew. Here he is.
Good old Andrew. Good old faithful Andrew. Ah, this guy's really good. Yeah, there you go. If you panic roll, they'll catch you.
Oh, he bowed.
Backstab.
He's wearing a frog mouth helmet.
He's wearing an armor set that people who know what they're doing wear.
Not in real life, because that helmet is impractical to use when you're not on a horse.
Really?
Yeah, that's a jousting helmet, so it's made to deflect the. It's not a javelin, just the lance. It's made to deflect the lance away from your face.
Oh, I'm using that.
And it's really thick metal, so it can do that. But if you were, on foot, you wouldn't want to wear something like that because you can't move your head for one.
Well, what counts in the game is how much defense points it gives you against various damage types. Did I get the same guy again?
Yeah, I guess.
God just hates me.
Important.
Oh, I don't think he did bow to me. He's just wagging his sword at me.
That's what I like. Wag that
Oh,
sword.
gosh, dang it. I used to be pretty good. I used to float between gold and silver rank on PvP, but not anymore. Gosh, dang. I don't want that guy. I don't want to be paired with you anymore. I gotta get to bronze ranking at least while I'm doing this.
Greatest combatant backstab pig.
Backstab pig. He hasn't even showed me his backstab skills yet. He just keeps running around.
It's interesting how different this game looks from all the other games out there right now.
Well, that's a few years old. This Dark Souls 3 is like 6 years old now, I think.
I know, even at the time though, like something about the way the composition of the game looks.
It's very different from Dark Souls 1 and 2. I like the feel of it a lot more. It feels more fluid. And the physics is better.
Cozy.
Elden Ring is quite a bit better. Obviously, it's a few years newer. Going back to Dark Souls 3, I noticed how loose the hitboxes are. Unlike Elden Ring, they really cleaned that up in Elden Ring.
So loose.
You haven't done it. It's too. You can't be loose. If anyone is ever loose, then they're not worth a dirty penny.
So what happened this week? What happened in the funny political land?
In funny political land?
Yeah. What do all the alt-light people...
Oh, here's that guy again.
Personalities have to say.
The alt-light. I don't know. I don't keep track of most of them. He's just gonna...
I follow some of them,
okay,
even
just
though...
do this again. I think this guy goes through
it
different
is
weapons
kind
each
of
time.
cringe to get your opinions from someone else, so I try to keep it to a minimum.
Or at least diversify the people you get your opinions from. If you steal from multiple people, then it's research. If you only steal from one, then it's plagiarism.
If you make up your source, then it's journalism.
Did anything interesting happen?
No, they're just talking about, oh, look, Joe Biden. Joe Biden had a senior moment again. This is so crazy. Haha. Found
Yeah.
him, got him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, look at Biden's latest gaffe. Oh. Not that I like. Neither of us like Biden, and he's an illegitimate president who was put into power through a rigged election. But
Also, he's married to his babysitter.
yeah,
Which is just weird.
he's married to his babysitter that he cheated on his wife with, which that's just standard in I was gonna say Hollywood and
Hollywood.
Hollywood and the government, kind of the same thing.
Political
Hollywood and the government.
And real Hollywood.
Hollywood and
old people
stealth Hollywood.
and
and the middle-aged Hollywood.
middle-aged Hollywood. I need to get my opinions from someone on the little TV box. They'll know what to think.
Oh, that's a good move.
Hey, they do my thinking for me.
It's like I'm doing a freaking Slave Nightingale cosplay. Just lost to a freaking cosplayer.
This is my Chad NPC. He does no personal thinking and just lets the crowd do all the thinking for him and form all of his opinions.
He gets all his opinions from Facebook influencers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I find
Facebook influencers. Is that even a thing? Man?
I don't know. I haven't deleted my Facebook yet. I don't use it anymore, but I haven't deleted it yet, unfortunately. I will soon. I just need it for something for a few more months. But oh, he's not doing. Okay. Well, he buffed, so I get to buff as well. Hey, don't stab me, asshole. Gosh. Some people have no honor. If you play video games without honor, you should kill yourself.
His name is Combatant Noob. So.
Combatant Noob. He appears to be gold ranked, though.
He's a noob to gold rank.
He got to gold rank by stabbing people in the back. And he didn't get the riposte either.
We need more high quality American combatants like this guy.
Ah, I thought I got the roll catch. Ah, come on. I want to beat him so bad.
Don't let him heal.
You can't use your estrogen flask in duels, but if he is a faith build, then he might be able to heal. Got you. Ah, not quite. Sorry, one sec. Come back.
Estrogen.
His estrogen flask.
He's a Discord mod.
What? Oh, he's killing time. He has a thing. Asshole. Do I have my teabagger pose? Oh, no, not that one.
It's no
I
use.
want my teabagger pose. How do I do?
Teabagger
Where's my
pose.
teabagger pose? Hold on. I've forgotten the damn controls to this game.
You kids in
Anyway.
your video games always with your
Always
cryptic
rubbing your
language.
balls on everyone. Why, back in my day, we rubbed our balls on each other in real life. Kids don't ever live these days. I forgot what the keyboard correlation to Y was.
Back in my day, we played Squirrel.
Oh, you know what?
We play Grab the Nuts because we're squirrels. And we grab each other by the nuts.
We play Squirrel, where we shoot to Squirrel and use it as a fleshlight. That's good old fashioned fun. Good old fashioned values. Now these kids only play Cyberpunk 2077 and customize their genitals.
Customize the genitals to be small.
I can't believe kids these days.
There's
So
no mod. I need my mod to make my dick smaller. The default small penis is too large.
hey, quit talking about my clitty dick. So I I find a lot of like boomer conservatives and mainstream conservatives, because we were talking about this a second ago and I wanted to talk about it, get way too into the Biden bashing. And like I said, we don't like Biden, but like they're doing the same thing that liberals do to Trump, where they just make like a spectacle. They make a media spectacle and get their good ratings or whatever by talking about, oh, check out Biden's latest gaffe. And it's like, Biden isn't even... Oh, gosh, it's him again. Damn it. Biden isn't important. Oh, wait, no, this is someone else. Biden is not significant. He is a puppet. He doesn't make any of his actual decisions. Wow, he's good.
He's doing a range build there.
That's a pyro. What do you call it? Pyromancy.
Pyrokinesis.
Pyromancy build.
Oh.
He really knew. That guy was good. He knew how to use those moves. I haven't played this
Spam.
for a while, though. I'm not very good right now. I should have used my spear instead of my sword on him, since he was doing a ranged build. Anyway.
You know who else has a spear?
Who has a spear?
So Overwatch 2 is coming out soon. And there's an African character.
Okay.
And
there wasn't already.
Blizzard, being a progressive company that likes diversity, in addition to having 2 gay characters in the game, they said, hey, we have this African robot character, but you know what she needs? She needs a spear. Because that's what African robots would have, right?
Oh,
she needs to throw the
I thought it was
spear.
close. Oh well, I should have buffed it. Yeah, that's right. They made a nice, diverse, inclusive African character and made it like as... I hate to use their language, but culturally appropriated as possible.
Yeah,
How can we like have a backhanded, like a tongue-in-cheek insult to black people, but pretend to be inclusive? I swear that Hollywood does that. I swear they secretly hate black people, but they like hide it in being inclusive.
I mean, they deported the migrants in Martha's Vineyard almost immediately, so maybe...
Yeah, they don't give a shit. At very most, they don't care and are just doing what they think will get them more votarinos.
No, you don't understand. We voted for migrants in your state. Okay?
You isn't understanding.
You isn't?
That wasn't racist. That was this thing that Ghost did. True Capitalist Radio.
I'm a
Come
capitalist.
closer to me. I want to hit you with my sword. Oh my gosh. I walked right into that freaking thing. Gosh dang.
See, the game's a lot easier when people watch you. What's that thing on the ground over there? It's like a fallen pillar or something.
Yeah. There's several pillars, and they all appear to be in suboptimal conditions.
Who left my pillars on the ground, eh? That's why they're fighting. They're fighting over the pillars.
Yeah. Okay, you keep distracting me from Biden. This stuff... I guess I was mostly finished, but yeah, Biden's latest gaffe, or like, let's go Brandon, ho 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 ho, let's go Brandon. Like, fake edgy, I don't know, just trying to pander to mainstream conservatives as much as possible. So, I discourage people from getting caught up in that. Don't look at Biden. Look at the people who are behind him. He's not really that important. Is this a new guy? I'm not sure I've fought this guy before.
It's looking like a bug.
He has the he has that horned helmet.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that weapon. Also, I think I already said this, but Dark Souls 3 does not have very good hitboxes. I've gotten spoiled by Elden Ring, how they've cleaned up the hitboxes really well. I have to remember if he hits downward with the spear when you're anywhere near him, it'll still get you even if you're not anywhere close.
Arg.
Anyway.
What's that thing that they're doing afterwards?
What he did
Like
just
the,
now?
The kneel? Yeah, what is that?
It's an emote. It's
Yeah, what's he doing? He's doing like a celebration, I guess. Curl up.
I'm trying to remember what the...
He cries.
What's the dang button? I'm doing this with a keyboard if you couldn't tell. I prefer keyboard in these games if I didn't say that already. I don't remember what the dim button equivalent of Y on the controller is.
Not the heckin' keyboard arenas.
It's this one. My Thanks, it's called.
My thanks. That's what I do when I see a big old pair of anime titties.
Yeah, me too.
Which now AI can produce.
I did see that, yeah. I saw some pictures that were altered in order to have big titties in them. That's
No,
the
they weren't
future.
altered,
That's
they were generated.
just Oh, you know what? Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember seeing. When you try OxyClean, you'll love OxyClean so much you'll come to my house and suck my dick. Money back guarantee. Oh gosh, that's
Back
one of
in
those.
my day, we didn't have
one of those bomb
OxyClean.
guns.
We just had a little.
No,
house present, and they would clean.
That wasn't Trump. That was Billy Mays.
I know.
Oh, okay. Speaking of Billy Mays, I know someone else who does a really good Billy Mays impression.
Yeah.
So, okay, I don't know how many people are watching yet. I only see Andrew in the chat, but some people were asking me questions about the Ashley stuff. Oh gosh, dang it! I almost had him.
Actually, whoa! Why'd he go naked?
How did he do that? Does he have a mod? How
Is
did
that
he
a macro?
How did he take his clothes off so fast? It must be a macro. I don't know of a shortcut that can do that. How did he do that? Did he have them all set to... Can you put your clothes as special items? That's so weird. That was amazing. I'm not mad that I lost to him anymore. He's clearly superior to me in many skills.
He has the nudity mod. That's what more games need, is nudity.
Yeah. Anyway, so Ashley, she did another video. I wonder if it'll be a weekly thing. Now that she's done that, now that she did it on the same day a week later, everyone's going to be expecting them on Friday from now on. But I thought this video was really good. I liked it more than the previous one. The Billy Mays part in particular was really good. Tarnished. Oh, I fought this guy several times.
She is at a disadvantage when it comes to humor. You know,
What's that?
with being a alt-righter.
Being an alt-righter? What do you mean?
An alt-right man. I was trying to infer something else, but you know what they say about humor from that kind of person.
Oh, it's Ted. I don't understand what you're getting at.
Oh.
Do you
Nah,
mean
never
that
mind.
you're limited? You're limited in your scope of things you can talk about? Wouldn't it be the other way around though? If you're trying to be politically correct, you can only insult like white people and Christians.
Yeah, white people. You know how white people's sense of humor is, you know what I'm saying?
You know those white people, how they don't spice their food. Know what I'm saying?
Ha 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 ha.
Anyway,
I'm John Oliver. I can suck my own dick because I had several ribs taken out. Oh, who is Ashley? Oh, we got another.
yeah.
Ashley is a human being.
Ashley's this guy. She supports Stallman, so she can't be that alright. Well, you win some, you lose some. Do I have my wave? There it is.
Well, knowing some of her videos, I would say that she's
Well, you have to.
not really that liberal.
Here's the thing. I was gonna maybe bring this up later. On that note, like, people who have too rigid of standards about political stuff often end up shooting themselves in the foot. Like, so I like Gab. You may have noticed I have a Gab account. I think the owner is based. People make a bunch of arguments against Gab, and most of them sound stupid. Like, it used to be gab.ai instead of gab.net. Or whatever it is now. I can't remember what it is now. Com? I don't remember. And
It's gab.com.
Gab. You don't know what Gab
It's a
is?
gab.com.
It used
It's
to be.
it's a .com.
It's like it's a not Twitter.
Yeah. It's like Twitter, but instead of blue, it's green. Is she hot? I don't know. Is she?
Yeah, she is. Anyway, what was I talking about? If you have too rigid ideas about politics, you end up shooting yourself in the foot. Because you're like, oh, well, Gab used to be called Gab.ai, and Gabai is like this Hebrew word, and it means banker. And so they're actually this honeypot. It's actually run by lizard people. If you always listen to that kind of thing, I was gonna bow, damn it. Okay, he's cool. Never mind. Okay, if you always listen to that kind of thing, you'll never be able to do anything. You have to pick your battles a little bit. Think about winning the war and not winning battles. He wants me to come to him. Ah, you screwed it up. He's trying to parry me. Why does he keep... Yeah, there's a little bit of latency issue. It's because I'm streaming it to you, damn it. He didn't get his riposte, though.
Stab him in the cock.
I'm gonna stab you in the cock.
Stab him in the cock.
Mount. I'm gonna mount you. Gosh dang it.
Oh, that's what he's doing.
He's mounting me. He wants me to mount him. He's trying to lure me to the break-in barn.
Yeah.
Oh crap, we're lagging.
Anyway,
Here's
we're
how
talking
you
about
win.
her video.
Here's how you win. Oh. Here's how you win when it's lagging.
Uh-oh.
Could just run away.
Stinky. I think
Is he glitching?
he's waking up.
Gosh.
Anyway, we were talking about her video that she made about
Okay. COVID.
COVID.
So, right at first, I'm done with that. I don't want to do it anymore. Right at first, when she was talking about the poop thing, I didn't understand the joke, and I was like furiously looking through articles. Oh, it got up to bronze. I was looking through articles trying to find like the China poop thing. uh, I didn't know. I'd forgotten or never knew about the trucks like spraying Lysol in the streets. So I didn't know what that was when she showed that video. You're still there, right? I didn't like disconnect from the internet, did I?
You're good.
Okay.
I'm
Um,
waking up.
so I was like, what happened with the China poop thing? I thought it was good though, and there was a lot of stuff in it that I did not already know. Um, and someone was asking about our take on COVID. We already talked about this a bit in the past, but there's probably like 2 people watching anyway. So, he's got a rake. Interesting. If a guy's got a rake, you know he means business. Yeah. It's actually not a bad weapon. Stop. Gosh dang it, I knew it.
Anyway, so she makes this video about COVID, and she shows like cement trucks spraying Lysol.
Yeah, that's apparently what they did. They put Lysol in cement trucks to cleanse the streets when it was first happening. I didn't
Yeah,
know.
so this is like a new thing she's doing, is these videos. They're sort of more, there's more production value behind them.
Yeah, in the old ones, she did a lot more kind of improvised single take ones. I do like a lot of those ones, though. I would like if she did that every once in a while. But it's cool that she's putting a lot of effort into them as well. Anyway, we're gonna. Did I get the same guy again? On COVID. I'll also say while I'm on this, I read parts of the manifesto on her website where I'd previously only very briefly skimmed it. And it's not, there are some weird parts, but it's not as, I think I wrongfully judged it a little harsher than it really merited. Link to videos, yeah, right. The stuff on COVID, I generally agree with. It was obviously planned in advance because Fauci and Bill Gates and all these people were saying things related to it and implying it years in advance. And then after it happened, I do think there was a real disease there was an actual disease that people were getting sick from. It wasn't just like the flu and they were calling it COVID. There was a real disease, but it was not very dangerous, and they were probably intentionally misleading people at first on how exactly it was spread and whether or not the personal protection or whatever they called it actually worked. Part of the whole, I mean, half the point of it, actually most of the point of it, was that people were scared and taking it really seriously. And my take on it is basically the idea was to A, rig the 2020 election, B, pharmaceutical companies make a shitload of money, and they did, and pretty much most mainstream conservatives and a lot of liberals will admit that now, that the big pharma is making tons of money off of this. And kind of the overarching thing is move to the next phase of their cultural subversion, kind of usher in their new world order.
Right.
Yeah, there it is. There you go. There you go.
I don't know. COVID's been talked to death, so
Yeah,
frankly, I don't care.
I think she cares about it a bit more than I do. It's one
Well,
piece of the puzzle, and so many people talked about it for so long. I'm kind of burnt out about it now. Dingbat. Um, but yeah, my that's my take on it. Basically, they wanted to make money and they wanted to usher in the New World Order, and that's kind of and rig the election. So
I
that
think most of this can be explained with money. Like they want to make money.
follow the money. That's how it usually goes. What else were people? Oh, on that, I was also going to tell this story. Funny coincidence. I was in this health class at my university in fall of 2019, and it must have been coincidence. I can't imagine my health teacher was in on it, but possibly they were telling the professors to do this. She offered us extra credit or something for watching this movie from, I think, 2011 or so, called... Oh, this is the pyromancer guy. Hold on. Oh, that hurt. Oh, gosh dang it. I was trying to switch weapons.
Pleased to meet you.
Huh? Okay.
He's choosed to meet you, obviously.
He's this movie called Contagion, and it's about basically what happened with COVID. Like the whole world shuts down, and there's conspiracy theories around it, and some people say, no, they didn't really say it wasn't real, but some people were making like fake vaccines in the movie. That didn't, well, I guess it did, but not in the way that it was portrayed in the movie. Everyone has to stay inside. The difference in the movie being, though, that this disease was actually deadly. It had like 50, 60, 70% fatality rate.
Would a disease like that actually spread, though? Because, like, I think it...
Kill people too fast.
Would probably kill people before...
I don't know. It's a good question.
If it's that deadly...
Yeah, if symptoms show that fast, and if people die really quickly...
Sexually transmitted.
Actually, yeah, that is how it starts, yeah. I recall.
Some STDs have a 100% fatality.
If only monkeypox had a 100% fatality rate.
Peter, you can't say that on the stream.
Monkeypox. We need to make a vaccine for monkeypox that makes you more susceptible to it. Zinx says she's blue-pilled on veganism. Wow, she's pretty popular, and there's lots of people talking about her.
Hold on, is my chat scrolled down properly? Sometimes OBS doesn't scroll down. Okay.
Do you have it set to live chat or top chat? Because it should be on live chat.
It's set to top chat. Okay, I'll fix it in a second. That's why I was doing that in the previous one as well. You know what? Since you have a short sword, you know what? I find that to be unsportsmanlike, though. I'm not going to do it. Still go.
Did you just chuck a spear at you?
Yeah, I did. People don't use that weapon very often.
Overwatch. Arisa does from Overwatch. She's African. She was made by an African child genius. Like Jimmy Neutron, but in Overwatch. She spent all her grant money on building Arisa. Okay.
She's blue-pilled on veganism. You know, on the veganism thing... Oh, wait, hold on. Did you say vegan or maybe just vegetarian? You used to be vegetarian, weren't you? back in like
Yeah.
middle school, high school.
It was cringe. I regret that.
Her thing was all about like animal cruelty, which I completely agree on that. They in like these large farms, they treat the animals horribly, and it's appalling. But damn, dude, I just love hamburgers though, and also, like I said, I'm not much of a cook, so I really can't spend a whole lot of extra time on energy like learning new recipes or whatever, finding like veggie products to replace it. I need my protein
I don't
as well.
think
I'm trying to
I've
gain
known
weight.
anyone who's been vegan forever.
Be hard
like,
pressed to. You'd probably be super unhealthy if your parents made you be vegan when you were a kid.
Well, Italy's banned it. They consider it child abuse.
Good. That's
but
based. We should move.
It's
Let's move to Italy.
the most I've seen someone be vegan for without like cheating on their diet occasionally is like 4 years max. But
That's still impressive, I suppose.
maybe
That's
those
dedication.
like you'll occasionally see like skeletal looking people online
Yeah.
that seem to be really devoted.
None of them
to
ever
veganism.
seem to be very healthy, which that should tell you.
What does strength look like to you?
Oh, tough luck, buddy.
You have that
Oh, he's left.
vegan
What?
feature.
Did he have? Oh, he's barely got 1 health left.
Raw vegan healing. Go look up raw period
my
vegan period healing on Instagram.
After I was so cocky.
That's what you get when you're
Humans are naturally omnivores, so yeah, if you're not eating meat, you've got to get lots of protein from something else. I don't know. I guess I could eat lots of beans or peanut butter. Or
You also need the
muscle milk or
vitamin
something.
B12 or you'll die.
Yeah.
And most vegans have to take it in a supplement, so it's. I mean, if
Yeah.
you need a pill to survive, I don't know.
I'm not super
That's not a
picky.
great diet.
I'm not super picky about food. Honestly, if like that soy lent stuff wasn't like full of estrogen, I would just like to have some like kind of mush food that I could eat every day that has all of my nutrients in it, so I don't have to bother with all the food making drama. But yeah, I'm trying to gain weight a little bit, so I need protein stuff, and meat's one of the best things for it. Anyway, what were we talking about before that? We got sidetracked by somebody.
Ashley Jones.
Yeah. Yeah.
She made a video about COVID. The first half I think was pretty funny, but she has a tendency
Wow,
to
that
like
sucks, dude.
hold on to the joke for a little too long. Yeah.
In the you mean in the first video or in both of them?
In both of them, like they could have been cut in half because something about humor is if you like stay on a joke for a little too long, it just becomes awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to, in humor especially, in art in general, but in humor especially, I think there's a art of less is more, or at least knowing where to stop. If you dedicate too much to something and you go past the mark, you miss it. I liked the second video more. The first one I thought had a really good. The first one I thought was it had a really good premise, but the execution wasn't quite as good. Anyway, we're talking about we're on COVID, vegetarianism.
Hey, did you know if you're in the chat and you haven't liked this video, then your mother will die in her sleep tonight.
Have I beaten this guy yet? Gotta beat this guy who's doing the freaking Gale cosplay.
Who's Gale?
Slave Knight Gale. He's a cool character, actually. He's one of the harder bosses. Anyway. Oh, we tied. He's fucking around. Don't take him seriously.
Oh no, it's on BitChute. No spoon feeding allowed.
If any, we're a gatekeeping community here. Yes, this is one of my favorite games. I'm not very good at it now because I don't play it very much anymore. But a couple years ago, I used to do PvP and win most of them. I forgot it. Shoot. Whatever I was gonna say, I forgot about it. So someone was asking me about what I thought of her earlier, and because we kind of were roasting her a bit last week. I like her. I think she's cool. I like her maybe a little too much even. And oh crap, this level's always like we have to go ring around the rosies trying to find her. Yeah, I like Elden Ring. I've done it in a couple of the previous videos. Oh, crap, it has one of those. Why is his name? I discovered her on 4chan from people posting webms of her about a year and a half ago. Dang it. There we go. That's probably gonna kill me. Yeah. And I found the YouTube channel, and I found this this board dedicated to her. There's like this bootleg 8chan called Endchan with a few of her simps on it. Yeah, I know I've railed on simps in previous videos, yet I myself am guilty of that sin. I'm a pathetic simp. Everyone feel free to laugh at me right now.
I will.
Though I think a couple of you guys probably are as well. Jeff kind of is as well, except in a different way.
I'm what, a simp?
Yeah. You do simp things for your girlfriend sometimes, except difference being she's actually your girlfriend.
Yeah, well, the
You're
relationship.
You're not just pathetically like fawning over someone who doesn't know you exist. Anyway. So I think she's cool. Like, the things that stuck out to me about her when I first saw her videos was that she's very intelligent, first of all. She has opinions that are considered by some to be offensive and doesn't shy away from them, which is a lot of times finding that in a girl is more rare. Although some of them just do it for attention on the internet. I don't necessarily think when you see, I'm not talking about her, but some girls, like when you see these TikTok girls that like make jokes about like how they're a woman and so they need to go to the kitchen. It's like obviously they're just trying to like get alt-right people to think they're cool, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a sign that we're gaining ground in the meme wars, and so I encourage that behavior. As long as they're not like a whore. if like Belle Delphine is doing it, then who cares?
Belle Delphine does it, then you know all hope is lost.
You know, though, it's still gaining ground in the meme wars. One thing is, So, like, she was crass and defensive in the old videos. But in the ones where she's, like, doing out-of-character stuff... oh, ouch. Ow. She seemed like, deep down, she was really a nice person. Like, she seemed to care about people a lot, and she would give her time and attention to all these manipulative guys who had no business receiving it. And,
I think I'm lost.
well, yeah, I guess you're not one of her simps. You've only seen like a couple of her videos.
Okay.
You know, guys would be like, "Talk to me, or I'm gonna kill myself," and she would do it. That kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
The point, like, not that that's a good thing, but the point is, like, she was a really nice person.
Yeah, but then it's easy to get taken advantage of if you're.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You have that sort of mindset.
I'm sure plenty of them tried. Yeah.
I mean, that's a natural thing to think, but frankly, people have to learn that. Like,
yeah.
you don't
Well,
owe anyone
yeah, that
anything.
happens to a lot of girls. Some guys too, but it's mostly guys doing it to girls, to be totally honest.
Well, girls have options, so.
Anyway, I also admired how she seemed very dedicated to certain moral standards. Like, guys were hounding her constantly to, like, post pictures of her body and offered her money for sexual favors and stuff like that, and couldn't ever prevail upon her. That, I find that very impressive, especially for a teenager. Honestly, if guys offered me money for feet pics when I was 15, I probably would have done it. Hell, I'd do it now.
How much money?
How
What
much
would your
money?
standard be? Like,
What, for-
I mean,
for
obviously,
feet?
maybe like $5. Would you do it, or would it have to be like $50?
When I was a teenager, I was not really sure about myself. Nowadays, I would not do it just because of the standard of it. Like, I wouldn't want to be a person who accepts money for sexual stuff. So even if they offered me a lot of money, I probably wouldn't do it. Obviously,
$5,000.
actions speak louder than words, but my claim is that I wouldn't do it. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know
I mean,
how
your
much.
reputation could be forever ruined if you do it. So
How long have we been going for?
you wouldn't just pay
Almost an hour.
with money.
You could pay with Monero.
Monero.
Anyway, so if you watched last week, you could probably tell that I was in a really bad mental state, and I was for a little while after that as well. And I don't know, I'm still kind of weird right now, but it was kind of complicated. Obviously, I was happy she came back, like, and made videos again after I'd been, at this for like over a year. But it's kind of complicated because
one of these days we should read the Unabomber's manifesto on stream.
Hey.
I think that'd be good.
Hey, I'm pouring my soul out here. But yes, I do agree with that, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm easily distracted.
Yeah, we're both super
And maybe
ADHD.
autistic.
That's just how all of our conversations go. As maybe you notice, we get distracted by a random thing and suddenly change the subject. Don't clap for me, asshole. I hate this guy. Fucking asshole.
Muchos gracias. Muchos gracias.
So on the board, on the simp board, like a month ago or something, she slowly started posting a little bit more leading up to when she made the video. And this one time, I got in this big argument with this person, like, about alt tech and cybersecurity and stuff. Like, someone mentioned, like, what was it, Ancestry, I think, and they were like, don't give your data to them because they sell data and use it for your digital fingerprint. And I was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't want them to know who my like great 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 grandfather was. And it escalated and escalated, and it was a really unpleasant exchange. And at some point they claimed to be her, and I didn't believe them. I thought it was this other like psycho who goes to the board, uh, and I was so convinced that it wasn't her. And I said some really awful stuff to her, and then it turned out that it was her. And there were a couple other unpleasant conversations between us after that, and I totally thought that it was someone else, and it wasn't. It was her. And so the thing is, like, I don't know, she seems really different now. And I think she probably doesn't like me because of the stuff that happened. So.
Well, so you say her personality is different?
So it seems. Assuming that wasn't
Well, I
an
mean,
act, because you remember
It
that
could
was
be
the
like lots
person.
of different things could have happened behind the scenes, like.
Well, yeah, it's been
things
7
can
years.
happen to people and changed.
Yeah, who knows what
personalities.
happened? But
It
like,
could also be she has a bit of a character that she puts on for the camera.
maybe like I was, we were talking about that a bit before, how she said like she only uses Linux and she doesn't have a bank account and she only uses crypto and she exchanges it for like cash in order to pay bills and stuff like that. Which I was very convinced at the time that that was a lie, and I'm not entirely sold on it now either. So I wonder, like, is she for real or is it like a character? But I don't know. We were definitely super unfriendly to each other, regardless of whether that part of it is real or not. Oh, I didn't get a parry on him, did I? Or stagger. Should have listened to me? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I don't know. Well, frankly, I don't know. I don't know a lot about this.
Anyway.
Should we switch?
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, okay, it's still good.
Well, frankly, that's a good meme. You mistook her for someone else and cussed her out, LMAO.
Yeah, it was bad. It was,
This is an anonymous.
Call it bad
image
luck.
board.
Spin.
That's what I like. Hey.
Super meta boy.
Meta boy.
He's got good taste in games. Oh, almost got me, not quite.
So this game is frame rate dependent.
Ah, almost.
Muchas gracias, idiota.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. We already showed the Laney thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I love Laney Molnar's art. It's just so good.
Oops. Didn't have it pulled up. Okay, there it goes.
Yep. Now what do we talk about?
I don't know. Yeah. So that was that. Anyway, her videos are still funny though. She's still very clever and funny. So.
Oh fuck. Yeah. There's some potential there.
What else?
Okay, keyboard sounds. Oh shit. I get the mechanical keyboard. I should have switched.
Oh, that was my
started.
keyboard. It's because I was typing.
Oh. Okay.
Just search Ashley Jones on BitChute. There's a channel on YouTube still with the old videos, but it's kind of hard to find. They memory hold her, just like the China pooping incident. I think if you search Ashley Jones archive, it will come up. Oh, I remember something. I mentioned I read part of the her manifesto. Once again, I don't know if all of it is for real. I assume at least some of it is, though, because a lot of the stuff there's completely true. But she talked about like spiritual stuff and her belief in like God, God in the afterlife. She seemed like she believes in a God and an afterlife, though not necessarily a specific one. And I've mentioned, you probably wouldn't know it because I'm such a man child, but I'm actually an unironic hardcore
Christ
Christian.
fag.
I'm a Christ fag.
Yeah.
And
We never could have guessed from your stance on pornography.
yeah, you'd probably wouldn't find. You'd probably be hard pressed to find an atheist who has a negative opinion of pornography. I don't know.
I need my
maybe
heckin' Pornhuberinos.
I need my heckin' materialistic dopamine sorcerinos. Because we're just stardust and nothing matters. So she talked about how she believes in do you both live in the South? We both live in America. That's where we live.
Come on, dox yourselves.
Want to know what time it is where I am? Want to know what the temperature is? Which who I'm voting for in the midterms? So she talked a whole lot about near-death experiences, which is kind of interesting. I've never looked at that a whole lot. I didn't super feel a need to, because I mean the takeaway for most of the stories is things I already believe in anyway. It is kind of interesting though. It talks about all these accounts she read, how they have a lot of similar themes. They're similar to each other. How people talked about how it felt like it was a more real reality, like they were more lucid when they were outside of their body. How they could see people around them in like the hospital room, and some of them talk about hearing what people are thinking, or going to an adjacent room and being able to see what's going on in that room, and then they accurately say things that were going on in adjacent rooms afterward.
Kind of sounds like what people who do mushrooms and LSD say when they have a trip.
Maybe. I mean, if somebody is pronounced dead, or their heartbeat, or their yeah, they'd probably judge it by heartbeat. If their heartbeat stops for a while and then they wake up and say this weird stuff, it's possible that you have a hallucinogenic experience near death as well, though. But if those accounts are true with the details that they say they are, that would be a good logical argument for saying that there's something that exists after, beyond the material world. Yeah, that stuff's interesting. I'm a Christian, but I'm also very interested in Buddhist and Hindu ideas. I read part of the Bhagavad Gita, though I didn't get very far in it, and I dropped it a while ago and I haven't picked it up again. I'm a super slow reader, though. It's hard for me to read a long book that isn't an exciting story, that doesn't captivate my mind and concentrate my ADHD brain. I was reading this book by Alan Watts about Zen Buddhism, and something cool in Buddhist ideas is how they talk about conventional knowledge versus true knowledge. The things that we can observe and prove and express to each other in definite terms, which we tend to prefer in Western philosophy, is what's referred to as conventional knowledge. But conventional knowledge doesn't happen until after true knowledge, and true knowledge happens outside of the scope of conventional knowledge, and often we limit ourselves by trying to only define reality through our abstractions of it, and we end up only really describing our abstractions and not reality itself. Anyway, I like a lot of the stuff that Buddhists say about the universe, and my opinion is all, or at least most, religions have pieces of the truth, although some have bigger pieces than others, but some also have different pieces than others. And I think in many ways things that Buddhists think about, like the universe, the true nature of reality, is more accurate than how a lot of Christians see it, because Christians often just get caught up in the external steps. Like I do this, I don't commit sins, I am not reading off something. In fact, should I turn on my webcam? I would still be able to read from my screen, though. You wouldn't be able to tell. I could put in my webcam and record myself with my screen behind me so that you can tell I'm not reading. Whatever, doesn't matter, I don't care. Damn it, you made me lose my train of thought. Christians get too caught up in the steps, in following kind of external expressions of faith, and not ever having, like, it doesn't seem to be super deep in their heart, other than being really super dedicated to particular ideas and standards. Which that doesn't really say anything. Man, now I was going really well for a while. Now I'm stumbling. I'm trying to formulate my thoughts. Maybe it's just because I know a lot of Christians, and maybe there are shallow Buddhists as well. But
I'm sure there are. There's a lot of people who sort of, I don't know, look at the surface level of Buddhism and maybe like the
Yeah, I
pop
have
culture
some.
idea of what Buddhism is, and then
Yeah,
because
actually, I
they'll
have some
think like it's
family.
this hippie sort of thing, but maybe not so much. I don't know.
Some of my family has been to Japan for longer than just like a vacation, and um, known that a lot of the people there, kind of similar to what I'm describing, follow the external expressions like the cultural stuff of Buddhism, and don't really actually know what Buddhists believe. So maybe I have a starry-eyed vision of it just because I've read stuff that like was written about monks or like very devout believers. Um, Even devout Christians, though, it seems, I don't know, they have a very rigid and shallow perspective of God and the universe, and things that are, like I was talking about, conventional knowledge and true knowledge, things that seem more ephemeral in nature, like meditation, for example, is often seen as like hippie bullshit, and they shy away from it. Maybe less so now, but especially in the past, um, would have been closed-minded to that kind of thing. Which I was going to mention that as well. I haven't read much about near-death experiences, but I have always been very interested in mind over body kind of stuff, which is often correlated with meditation. Like all these crazy physical feats that monks and avid practitioners of meditation, I don't know, forms or studies, are able to do all this weird stuff with their body, like survive in super cold water. I'll look up this.
Like Wim Hof.
Yeah, look up Wim Hof if you haven't. He's a really interesting person. Like he can do all this crazy stuff, and it's been recorded and very much proven. He like swam across the English Channel in the middle of winter or something. He like would sit in ice for several hours, and he has this special breathing technique that he does that I guess warms his body. He makes a bunch of. I've listened to him a lot. He makes a bunch of outlandish claims, like he can heal himself from diseases and stuff like that. I don't knock it before I try it, though. Like maybe it's true. I usually try to be healthily skeptical, though. But that there's stuff about like Indian yogis and Shaolin monks. Like monks, they did a study on these monks who they put these towels with frozen water in them on them, and that would give a normal person hypothermia. And they would do their meditation. And they'd warm themselves up to the point that the towels would start steaming, and they were perfectly fine. And
Yeah, like is that, I don't know, is that proven, or is it just
well,
like
there's
they said they did it?
supposedly some
I'm kind of
scientists.
skeptical when people say that sort of thing, though.
I don't recall where I read it, but supposedly Western scientists went and were observing them do it. Like they gave them the towels, and it was like an experiment that they did. But I would have to go find it again. I forgot where I even saw that. So that a bunch of them can do this crazy stuff, like slow down their heart rate, willingly stop their heart. There's like this yogi that could survive trapped inside a coffin for like a week or two by slowing his heart rate down and breathing really slowly. And yeah, I'm sure a lot of this stuff is bunk. I'm sure a lot of it is stories that people tell, folk legends that get passed around. But I believe a lot of it, and I've become a big believer in mind over matter kind of stuff. And in my church, it's often taught that there's spiritual world, there's a spirit form within every physical form that God formed. All physical things in the universe spiritually first, and then the physical form is like a glove that's on top of it. And so a lot of the things that that's the religious doctrine, and then my take on it is that the events that you see, that you can observe happen in the physical world, are the outward expression of phenomena that is largely taking place in the spiritual world, that is underneath it. And so these people who focus so much on meditation and tuning into their spirit body are able to manipulate their physical body in all these weird ways, because they can manipulate, I think I repeated that twice, they can manipulate their spirit body. But regardless of if that's true, meditation is very much proven. Like I do it a lot to try to concentrate, to focus my thoughts when I have to do homework and stuff like that. And people who do it regularly have been observed to have all of these physical benefits above people who don't, with that being the control factor in an experiment.
Interesting. Well, I remember reading a book called, I think it's called The Holographic Universe, and it's like it made a lot of similar claims, like the you can like their claim was like everything is connected, and we can like tune our brains to like interact with these things. And at first it seemed kind of like plausible. It's like, okay, here's some people who can sort of manipulate their bodies to do sort of, you know, larger than life things, I guess. But I don't know, in the end, like, part of me thought it was sort of bullshit, because so basically the writer claims to be like a psychic, and he doesn't outright say that, but he he implies it like 2/3 of the way through the book.
That he believes it to be false?
No, he believes it to be true.
Okay.
But I started smelling bullshit as I was reading. But the first, half of the book seemed like really plausible. It's like, okay, here's some people who can do larger than life things. Like, it's really similar to the Wim Hof thing, where it's like, okay, he can control his body, and maybe he's able to produce more cold shock proteins than he otherwise would, thanks to his meditation method, and maybe there's some truth to it, but his understanding of it probably isn't the actual reason.
Well,
because there's
that's part of it. I know if I talk to this about like a scientist, someone who studies this stuff, they're going to tell me, oh, actually this is what's happening.
Yeah.
I'm still making my claim, though, that is the external expression of something that's going on deeper. And obviously that's a non-falsifiable. So, but that's just my opinion. That's what seems correct to me. And it's what makes everything fit together, in my opinion. And I'm largely, I talked about conventional knowledge. If you only believe things that you can prove, you'll often not be able to, you won't be able to imagine things that could be, and you'll be very limited.
But there's benefits to that too, because that's how you arrive at conclusions for things,
Yeah, well,
like we didn't.
It's how, well, it may be how you I guess you have to have both, but it may be how
Like,
it may
you
be
can't
how you
make
discern.
scientific breakthrough just off of, the spiritual world has this feeling. Like, even if you are a spiritual person, you do need to apply some level of, we need to prove this in order to,
Yeah.
make it happen,
But
right?
if you only ever believe things that you read in peer-reviewed papers, then you'll never be able to think of something new that hasn't already been thought of. The,
Yes,
sci-
that's true.
the
Well,
scientific world, there's this unintended effect in academia where they are only able to get their foot in the door with an idea if everybody agrees with them. And so big new improvements often don't happen because they're on the fringe, you know. I'm kind of paraphrasing this thing from this Australian scientist that I saw in this video. He makes a really good point, though. I could just read what he says, and it would be way better than anything I could say. He says the best candle makers are not the ones who invent the light bulb. You can't be the best at applying known knowledge and be able to invent the new thing. The new thing always happens on the fringe. The new thing is always opposed by the status quo. The new thing is always thought to be impossible until it's shown that it is possible, and then the status quo has to reevaluate all of their false opinions that they confidently believed it were true just because they all keep reinforcing each other.
yeah, but for every person that thinks that and is right, there's like 200 that have that same mindset and are wrong.
Yeah, that's true. And same applies for the spiritual stuff. Like for every meditation master who can do some crazy thing with their body and it's actually true, or who has some crazy enlightenment about the universe, and it's actually true, there's probably 1,000 that are just grifters and they're full of shit and they're just trying to sell their books or their programs or whatever. At one time,
My alpha brain.
yeah, my alpha mind waves thing. My approach though is I just try to give everything a fair chance. So I try to be healthily skeptical of things, but I try to not, first of all, don't have a knee-jerk reaction like that sounds like bullshit, therefore it is, and also don't necessarily defer to whatever the status quo has to say about something.
I'll say that engineers really have to unlearn that way of thinking, the it won't work way of thinking, because engineers are often tasked with finding a solution to something, but the solution often isn't within convention, because if the answer was the obvious one, then you wouldn't really need engineers. You just have the laborers build it, because they have common sense too. They can, I'd say that there's a mindset among engineers that, like, workers, the actual people doing the manufacturing are kind of dumb, and that's not true. They just don't have the math side of things, and they often they're right when the engineers are wrong. I mean, that happens a lot. They couldn't design a skyscraper from zero, but they could build a house just based off of common sense, if that makes sense.
Why are they right? What knowledge do they have? Like, where are they coming from?
They would have the history of, like in the construction world, they would have, oh, we know this sort of beam can take this much weight, and so if we want a house, we'll need approximately this much.
The real experience rather than theoretical knowledge.
Yep.
That's a huge thing.
They couldn't build a skyscraper that could withstand an earthquake just off of that alone, because you do need the math, because I don't know. One, there's too much at stake because lots of people could die.
Yeah. Well, there
Um,
are some people who are made for having big ideas and some people who are made for crunching numbers. They're often not the same people. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, that's a huge thing. Things that work in theory versus things that work in practice. Things actually making something work. There's this old joke about how did it start? There's a dean at a college who's getting budget requests from different departments, and the crap, I can't remember how the joke starts. I wish I'd thought of this beforehand. They're upset at the physics department because they need all of these tools and gadgets and stuff, and says, "Why can't you be more like the math department? All they need is pencils, papers, and erasers." Or more like the philosophy department. All they need is pencils and papers.
Makes sense.
Do you get it? Do you understand the punchline?
I get it.
Okay. It's very funny.
So I'm just getting my ass kicked.
Oh, okay.
The joke is that
I would be frustrated too if I was
all
playing this.
hypothetical, and the physics department needs to prove real things.
Yeah, in science,
things
you have an idea, and then you think of how it might work, and then you try it, and then there are problems, and you work your way through the problems, and then eventually, maybe you find a way to make it work, or at some point you find a fundamental flaw in your theory that proves that it cannot work, and so you give up on it. Whereas these people in like philosophy and a lot of people in like political science, such as people who try to find ways to think of how socialism or communism could hypothetically work in an ideal world, all they can do is talk about how it could work on paper, and they cannot test it. So to me, that's like, imagine trying to write a functioning complex program without ever compiling it once until you're finished. That probably doesn't make sense to the average person, but it would never work. In order to build something that works, you have to test it over and over to see if your progress is working so far. And anytime you try to build the whole thing without testing it, it's going to have all these problems, and you won't even be able to figure out where the problems are because you don't know which part is breaking.
Yeah.
So I think about that in like the political world, or apply that to like people who talk about like abiogenesis and evolution, how life could have hypothetically come to be without the influence of an intelligent being. Like, well, it's monkeys in a room full of typewriters with infinite time and infinite monkeys. It's funny if you look up like, is it the Wikipedia article on that? Probably not Wikipedia, but there's someone wrote this thing on it and had a short paragraph about real life application of this thought experiment, how they gave some monkeys some typewriters one time and the monkeys just like broke them and defecated on them. That's a good example of it. I think it's because it's not just you need enough time and enough trials with enough random factors varying slightly from each other. It's like, I don't think it's even possible at all, even with infinite time, because some tiny thing goes wrong and the whole thing collapses. It's like working with complex systems should make you wonder how any complex system could possibly exist without someone intentionally creating it, especially one as complex as biological organisms, which we can't even manually create. No scientist has ever created a cell in a lab without like using existing cells. I don't think anyone has even made like an organelle of a cell, or like a protein that a cell uses. And every tiny piece of the cells that make up your body is far more complex than the most complex computers. And imagine the situation that would have to occur for like a complex computer to just fall into place. You have this deposit of copper and this deposit of silicon, and it happens to be on a volcano, and the volcano erupts, and all this shit happens to fall together perfectly.
Interesting.
It seems less and less believable. I think the more...
Yeah, if you put it in the context of a computer being assembled from infinite possibility, yeah, it does seem...
Yeah. And some people use this, those machine learning programs as an example, where like they have these organism creatures and they evolve to learn to survive in this environment or whatever. I think those are only really simulating natural selection, which that certainly happens autonomously. What I'm arguing against is a complex system being able to be created from nothing, or for an existing system to become more complex than it currently is without some kind of guiding force making it so. I don't believe that that's possible.
I don't know. I think it's completely possible just for things to randomly happen, and one thing can lead to another, though. You know, if the scientific canon would be that some basic proteins formed under the right conditions on early Earth, and that those proteins had a propensity to replicate, and then more functions were sort of... they collected more functions over time, you could say, just through random deviation.
It's all
in the replication
randomness.
process. Yeah.
So any significant event, like a new organ system being created, has to be attributed to randomness.
Yep.
And a bunch of them have to happen in sequence. And the cell population has to never die out at any point.
I remember in thermodynamics, though, they talked about entropy, and I was like, hey, doesn't that sort of like go against the whole evolution thing?
I remember, I didn't do thermodynamics, but in a physics class, the professor said at some point, and even put on a test, what's a way that entropy can decrease in a system? And it was like, well, if energy is being poured into a system from an outside source, such as the sun putting energy into the earth, then the entropy is increasing in the sun and causing the entropy to decrease somewhere else, which is on the earth.
I see.
Which that's one way to explain it away, but that still doesn't explain a less complex system becoming more complex. And organization isn't necessarily the same thing as complexity. So you can have like, I don't know, and energy comes from the sun and goes into a grass seed, and it becomes I should have said something more interesting, like a tree, a sprout of a tree, and then it becomes a tree, which is arguably more complex than the sprout. And you could say the order has increased in that system, and you can say, well, energy came from the sun, the entropy increased in the sun, and the entropy decreased on the Earth when the plant was created. But the system was already in place, though. Like all of the what's the DNA equivalent for plants? Do plants have DNA as well?
Plants have DNA, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the DNA, the code for this plant was already in place. And all of the complexity of the system was already there. All that happened was an exchange of energy, which isn't necessarily the same thing. So
Okay.
it's I hear a lot of ideas about how it could hypothetically happen. Doesn't necessarily mean it's not true, but once again, it's easy to make an idea work on paper, and it's a lot harder to make it work in real life. And so far, this hypothetical event that could have hypothetically happened, nobody's managed to do it manually with all of our modern equipment and knowledge. Which, once again, it's not proof, but my observation. We go
Maybe
back.
We'll never get there.
We go back to conventional knowledge versus true knowledge. I used to really like to try to prove everything. When I was like a teenager, I liked to have a logical explanation for anything I believed, even religious stuff. And a few years ago, I had this kind of change in the way I approach problems and how the way I approach like life and the universe is that you need to not focus too much on small details and focus more on what the big picture is, what the general flow in a situation looks like, and that gives you a more accurate idea of what's actually going on. That sounds kind of abstract, but basically...
I guess, but sometimes you do need to focus on the details.
Well, there's a time for details, but the details are a lower level of abstraction. When you're trying to put a tree together, you're not thinking about the forest, and obviously you need to have a tree, but you need to have the forest first before you think about. Well, okay, that's a bad metaphor. if you're talking, it's obviously starts.
Well,
with
no,
the tree
I'm saying like, even so going back to like a construction example, you could say that if your fasteners aren't built correctly, then your building could collapse. You know what I mean? Like, you do need to focus on the lower levels of abstraction, because the higher levels of abstraction are dependent on the lower levels.
Yeah. Yeah, at some point, I'm not saying the lower level isn't important. I'm saying to understand a problem effectively, you have to think about it in an abstract sense, and you have to not get lost. If we're talking about stuff like, what's the meaning of life, or does God exist? If you focus too much on small specific things, I think you'll often get lost and end up with...
If God is real, why do bad things happen? Checkmate.
Yeah, you focus in, you zero in on one thing, and then when you come back to the big picture, it's completely messed up and totally inaccurate to reality. And like, if you do art, you have to start with the whole thing in mind and have like all the whole layout, like have all the proportions and the shapes. What a lot of beginner artists do, like if they're trying to draw a face, they'll just start drawing lines. They'll like see, okay, there's the chin, and I start drawing the shape of a chin. You work from one side of the face to the other, drawing the features. At the end of the picture, it's going to look like an alien, because you were looking at the small details and not at the big picture. And I think solving important problems is very similar. You have to think about the forest and not get distracted by one or two trees here or there. Otherwise, you'll come out with the incorrect conclusion.
Yeah. There's the other way of thinking where you wouldn't even be thinking about the fasteners if you didn't even have the idea to make this building. So there is sort of the concept of like you need the greater vision in order to even pursue
Yeah.
the lower levels of abstraction, but
it depends what you're doing. Yeah. If you have to solve an equation, then you have to solve an equation. You can't meditate your way around that. But for solving, for when you're talking about like ideas or innovations, like creating something new that hasn't been created before, then you're working in the abstract world. Then you have to stop focusing on like data and peer-reviewed papers and stuff like that.
well, modern academia is a joke anyway, so
Yeah, it's all stupid. They select for pawns.
we'll get more investment money. Our ESG score will go up.
We'll keep getting our funding arena from Big Brother government. As long as our tests return the as long as our tests result in the result that they want, that the government or whoever's funding us wants.
Hey, look, we have this study that proves that we don't need to be worrying about global warming. Oh no, our funding went away. What happened?
Yeah.
Oh well.
Really, like studies prove that this vaccine is totally safe. I wonder who funded this study. Let's look at the details behind this study.
Who could have been behind this post?
Who could it be now? What are we at? I still got a little while. Is there anything else?
That's it. I don't know.
Anybody else ask me any questions? I think I beat the Ashley thing to death, but yeah, that was a complicated situation. Oh, someone asked about what stuff I was talking about last week about porn. They asked me if when I realized I had the problem. I kind of always knew. It's just stopping an addiction
You knew
is
from
really
the
difficult.
beginning.
What?
You knew from the beginning.
Oh, look who's here.
Is it a cat?
Yeah, well, something got dragged in by the cat for sure. Because of my religious ideas, I always believed it was bad and did it anyway. Though I guess depending on how committed you are to it will change like whether you actually put in the energy to stopping it or not. I could reiterate all the stuff I talked about last time. There are a lot of secular reasons for going against it, but I think my main thing was just it's an addiction. First of all, it's something that controls you, and it's mind fog as well. If you don't have self-control to over your vices, and if you can't, no, I don't know. I was just going to say the same thing in other words. If you want to have a clear mind, and if you want to improve yourself as a person, you have to overcome your vices, and you have to not let things control you. And any addiction would have a similar effect. But I think that one in particular is especially damaging because it's something that's kind of biologically a part of you. If you do cocaine, it has all these effects on your brain. It kind of rewires your brain to be dependent on it. But sexual stuff is much harder because it's something that you have ingrained in you biologically.
I mean, sure. I mean, well, cocaine is using a biological. I mean, it's a biological interaction between the chemicals in the plant and the chemicals in your brain, right? Or the receptors in your brain.
Yeah.
I guess the idea is that you're meant to use. It's already there, though. It's like it's going to awaken at some point, and you have to deal with it.
Yeah. There's some weird guy in the chat, I don't know who he is, but he makes a good point, which we talked about that as well. There's, it's been strongly correlated with erectile dysfunction. And probably because of, you get to the point where you associate the high with seeing pictures on a screen. And also a large part of it is the dopamine hit comes like when you're clicking on something new, when you start some new video, in anticipation of what you're about to see and not necessarily what you're seeing. So it messes up the way that you get aroused during, if you have if you ever happen to have a real sexual encounter, then it's totally different. So you're not clicking on a video and then having it show up. The novelty is taken away, and your brain, if it's gotten used to reacting to this other thing, then it won't work anymore. And I didn't see it while we were doing the stream, but I looked back later and noticed somebody said in the chat that that was debunked. I'd be glad to see whatever article claimed that, but I would very much like to see who funded whoever supposedly debunked it.
Was it Geek Mind, or what do they call Geek Mind?
Mind Geek.
Geek Brain?
Or one of their subsidiaries or somebody associated with them. Or not necessarily. You just look at who supposedly debunked that and check out their early life section, if you know what I mean.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Talking about Wikipedia? Can't trust Wikipedia. That's a second hand.
I'm just so sick of all this no FAP, no nut November, and no FAP stuff, and telling people not to watch porn. It's really anti-Semitic. Okay, that's you're crossing a line there. You're not respecting Jewish culture.
Jewish culture.
They have to make their money somehow. Okay, you're being an anti-Semite and trying to ruin their business, mess up their hustle.
Ruin their good time.
It's anti-Semitic.
I'm stealing it. Stealing their bones. I think 20% interest is a fair price. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. I don't actually know what arguments they made, but I saw a whole lot of that, especially a couple years ago when there were all those memes about No Nut November.
There's the prostate cancer one.
Yeah, I'm skeptical of that as well for similar reasons. So once again, anytime there's money behind it, you can expect that kind of thing to happen. And I don't even, the stuff I was saying just now, like there were articles about it, like all these experts were talking about how there's anti-Semitic roots behind No Nut November. I never actually saw what arguments they were making. I assume it was something like the alt-right says that they control the porn industry, which isn't true. If you go look up who all their directors and producers and funders and stuff are, that's not true. You can go look right now. You can find out for yourself that it's not true. Don't use Wikipedia, though. I don't know, though. That was really hard, though. I actually achieved it once. No, not November. It was really hard. By the end of it, like, it's like horny thoughts constantly, and there's like a constant like kind of discomfort in your groinal area.
That's gross. Actually, I don't know. But I think the idea is that
I'm sure they'll tell me that I'll
Some
get
sex.
prostate cancer for doing that. I have attempted to stop jerking off as well, but that one is much more difficult because your body is going to disagree with you increasingly the longer you go without it. Although, weirdly, there have been a couple times, like one time a long time ago, there was this one summer that I was really obsessed with a particular thing. I won't tell you what it was, but it was there's this thing I would dedicate all my waking energy to that I was really interested in, and during that time I never masturbated, and it was like 3 or 4 months, and after like a couple weeks I was like, wow, I haven't jerked off for quite a while. Does it still work? I forced myself. I like intentionally forced myself to get a boner one time just to make sure that it like was still functioning. Yeah, it was just like because I had this other outlet, I didn't need it anymore. So there's something to that as well. But
sure it wasn't just depression.
Wasn't what?
Sure it wasn't just depression though.
No, it wasn't depression. I didn't have serious depression at the time.
Okay.
That was a while ago. That was a long time ago when I was a teenager.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I've probably told you about that before.
I think it's partially my fault, but
no, it's just really interesting. Like that would be an argument against needing it. Like, oh, you just have to have it.
well, do you think we just do it because we're bored?
You do it because you need an outlet. You need like a dopamine fix is the main thing. It's like, I notice I do it less if I'm really into like a show. Like I watched most of Castlevania a couple weeks ago, and I went for like a week, I think, and it didn't feel terribly difficult. So I think it's just that you need some kind of dopamine fix or some kind of outlet, some kind of energy outlet, something that makes you feel good. And when you don't have anything else, then that's an easy thing that your body resorts to. It'll be on your mind more. You'll feel more of an itch to do it when that's the case.
Right. I don't know.
I don't know. I
Obviously,
don't know
there's-
anything. I'm just a retard on the short bus.
Hopefully, the hurricane grows and destroys the entire planet, and then I won't have to. I won't have to
That's right.
be alive anymore.
We did this title and thumbnail, and we didn't ever talk about the hurricane. I don't know.
Yeah, we did.
Did
We
we?
did a funny joke at the very beginning, very first thing.
I forgot. Oh yeah.
Hey Lois, remember the time?
Oh, Peter. Peter, you can't kill the people from Florida, Peter. The people from Florida need to live, Peter.
What will the funny DeSantis man say?
Hurricanes are bad. Then the crowd goes wild. That's how you win over your voters.
Your
Your boaters.
Your boat.
That's how you win your boaters.
Yeah, they got boats.
Get all your up boats and get reelected. Try to get the Republican nominee in 2024.
Got the Reddit vote. He's the Reddit approved candidate.
Now, which do you think is the Reddit candidate?
Probably Ocasio-Cortez.
Ocasio-Cortez is the
deadly January 6th invasion.
AOC is the Pinterest candidate. I'm talking about the Reddit candidate. The Reddit candidate is Bernie Sanders. He spawns all those cringy memes.
So is everyone in the YouTube chat an Ashley simp except for like Andrew?
Yeah, I think so. This recent guy who just came in is one
funny
of the
shit.
more vocal ones.
I love
That's our viewer base. We're gonna establish ourselves just based on that. Maybe we can, if she keeps making them every week, maybe we can just do like a watch along. YouTuber reacts.
Will be derivative of her content.
YouTuber reacts. Yeah, we'll just ride her coattails into fame and fortune.
Well,
and getting thrown in jail for hate crimes.
Yeah. We'll have a cell next to hers. Then we can say
If we go
schizo shit.
If we go to
Shout schizo shit.
if we go to jail in California, I can say I'm a transsexual, and then they'll put me in the women's prison, and there's a chance that I could be Ashley's cellmate. And then she'll force me to do things that I don't want to. I'll be like,
She'll
wait.
make you install Arch. This is what Ted Kaczynski would have wanted. He would have wanted you to install Arch. God damn it.
You would want to live in jail. That's the real red pill.
Isn't that where he is now?
Is he still alive?
I think so.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. That's forever ago. See, the half red pill is living out in a hut that you built in the middle of nowhere. The
Yeah,
real
Mud Hut.
the real red pill is you game the corrupt system to give you free housing and money. And you even get free sexual partners out of the deal.
The
It's kind of
Second
like
Amendment
a many
allows
flavored
me
games.
to have this battle spear. How many Gruglings need to go forever asleep before we get the chieftain to ban battle spears? Huh? Assault spears.
Grogwish cave drawing was real, mate.
Mate. Such a weird word.
A real woman shows up at the GNU Linux Club. Boy, do I have a deal for you, Andrew. Oh, he's still alive? Alright.
Who's
We
still
got
alive?
Ted Kaczynski's still alive. We gotta break him out. We gotta... He'll be the leader
of the rebellion.
Yeah, he'll make bombs for us.
He's really interesting. He apparently was this like math savant, and was on track to. Well, obviously he was an engineer because he made that stuff, but he
I thought he was a math guy.
yeah, well, math, yeah, but he
I mean, same
he
thing.
could do engineering stuff. I don't know what his career path was, but he had a career in the science and technology world and decided to reject it.
And return to monkey.
I praise him jokingly. I don't agree with everything he said, although I do think like our grid-like society is horrible for us, and it's the reason people are killing themselves. But I would never be a Luddite. I would never say that technological or scientific advancement is the bad thing. I think people use it in bad ways and make our society bad. And society before technology wasn't necessarily better either. Humanity always manages to screw itself up. It's just in different ways depending on what setting it is.
The Shortbus should write a letter to Ted Kaczynski.
Andrew says Ted had gender dysphoria. Is that true?
Yeah, but he cured himself
He went
by
to
thinking about it.
he went to Milo
5 minutes.
Yiannopoulos' clinic, got his shock therapy, and became normal again.
I would be interested to see.
None of this. We need to go to the dimension where he got the estrogen.
Where Ted
And-
Kaczynski got the estrogen.
Yeah.
I
See
assume-
what happened.
I assume he would have done something similar and probably ended up killing himself.
Yeah, maybe. Or he
Um,
just blows himself up.
I'd be interested to see if they weren't like blackballed by the industry, if like therapists and doctors trying to treat gender dysphoria instead of enabling it could ever create an effective cure. Possibly just abstaining from pornography, but
This autogynephilia, I feel.
why don't you stop watching sissy hypno porn, huh? Ever thought of that? Oh my gosh, that's so offensive. We need to blackball this guy and take away his medical license.
Hey kid, just go read a book or something. I don't know.
Let's give him shock.
That's what we
give
all
him
need to
shock
do.
therapy. I
But
think
don't read the holographic universe, I guess.
if
0
you have
to
gender
10.
dysphoria, you
Mhm.
need to stop going to Tumblr. You need to get off the internet in general, and you need to go read the Bible and go to the gym. Stop watching porn, get off the internet, go to the gym and read the Bible.
Well, that'd be a
That's-
Chad move for a doctor to prescribe you to read the Bible.
That's what I'd do if I was a doctor, and then they'd take away my medical license and kill me.
You can't do that. You can't go against the narrative.
It's anti-Semitic.
Yeah,
Why?
can't say that too much.
Uh,
We
well,
can't
well,
reuse that joke too much.
No,
Or I'll cry.
No,
and
really.
I'll piss myself.
Really? Did you know that in the Weimar Republic in Germany, that was when they pioneered transgenderism? And
Yeah.
the Nazis are what stopped it. They stopped trans people from being seen and from showing their identity 80 years ago. 90?
What?
And the Nazis are what stopped it from happening. The bad Nazis.
Bad
You can go look up all of this stuff. So I think that anti-Semitism is the root of transphobia.
Should write an article about
All
it.
of modern problems can be explained with this.
Yeah. But the Nazis just ruined everything, really. We could have had our brave new world by now.
Yeah, we could have had a gelatinous person who looks like a tick playing flute 90 years earlier. Talking about Lizzo.
If
You
you
know,
feel
like
like a girl, then you reel like a girl. Oh my gosh. Her songs are so trans inclusive. That's what I want in my music. Having good music is fine, but I really want trans. I
need
want
a
trans
message.
normativity.
What's the message of this? What's the political bend of this song?
What are the political
That-
opinions of
How
this
can
artist?
I like it if there's no political bend?
Did the artist get the vaccine?
Yeah, rage against the anti-vaxxers.
Rage
What the
against
government said.
Rage Against the vaccine would work better
Rage Against-
phonetically, but it would ruin the joke.
Rage against.
Fuck you! I won't not get my vaccine.
Rage against not.
Rage with the
The
machine.
heckin' jabberino.
Sorry, Andrew. I don't know what's going on. I don't think either of us are doing that.
I'm so sad.
They're on to you. You got too red pilled, and they came after you.
I'm barely conscious. I don't even know how I'm playing this game.
Pretty soon,
The dots on the screen. I just say, okay.
we're going to stream this to separate services. So we'll probably start doing it on my Gab account, which is linked in the channel. In the future, I don't know when I'm going to bother to do it, but I anticipate my YouTube channel getting banned eventually. But
This is so sad. Can we all flag this channel and get ourselves banned?
did you hear the heckin' transphobia? Let's post this in our cancel Chud's Facebook group and get everybody to.
Cancel Chuds. That's a group I need to be a part of.
My friend, which one of my friends was it? One of
The
my
one that
friends
made the
who's
tulpa.
no, not that one.
Did we talk about that?
My friend who made a tulpa.
Maybe we should discuss it behind the scenes before we talk about it.
I think we did talk about it at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a link to my Gab in the on the channel, and we're going to dual stream this to Gab at some point in anticipation of me getting banned on YouTube in presumably the near future. And then yeah, we'll do that.
And I said,
So-
okay.
If my waifu is gonna risk her future on red pilling people on the internet, even if she gets Trace Monero donations for it every now and then, probably not enough to live on though, I assume.
Don't call her your wife, man.
I'm a simp. There's no two ways about it, and everyone knows it. Everyone here knows it.
Then stop.
Everyone in the room
Just
knows how pathetic I am.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Not
Well,
worth it.
I can meditate and try to manifest a reality where it's not true, but it remains true
tulpa.
regardless. I could what?
Make a tulpa of her. Replace her with that.
Hey guys in the chat, have you ever heard of tulpas? You could make an Ashley tulpa and then she would be your girlfriend. But yeah, she got rich
I think
off
that'd
of
make you. The goal is to make you more normal. So I get it doesn't. It fails
No,
at that.
no. The goal is to have your waifu become real.
The goal is to be based as fuck.
I go to my family parties. I introduce my girlfriend to my family. They all pretend that they can't see her. I don't know what's up with that.
I lost. Time to jump off a cliff.
We're at like 2.25, so we can stop if you want.
Okay.
Anyway, that one was fun. We had more people. I guess riding Ashley's coattails is working out for me. And I'm not shilling myself on her board, by the way, for anyone who is accusing me of that. Yeah, I guess we'll just have a little powwow of Ashley Simps going on here every Saturday. We don't really do this at a consistent time. If more people watch, maybe we would care enough to start doing that, but I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, okay. I hope
Can't. If you don't do a handstand and then do 50 handstand push-ups, then you don't know shit about technology. Don't claim to know shit about technology unless you can do that.
that's
Fucking
what.
son of a bitch.
Oh gosh, what was that one guy's name?
His name is Hector Salamanca. I don't know what are you talking about.
A guy who I don't even know how to describe him. He's like a engineer who writes books about his philosophy. He supposedly has like 180 IQ, but he's like really traditional and he lives out in the country, like on a farm and stuff. I can't remember.
Ted Kaczynski?
Not Ted Kaczynski,
No.
somebody else. He people talk about him on /sci sometimes. He's like he has the based take. He
On
has the
what?
based take on every like political, but more like science issues though. Like I don't know what stuff that he talked about. I can't even remember his name.
He's really smart, so he probably watches Rick and Morty and smokes pot.
I can't think of anything else he would be. That's what everybody smart does. That's what all the smart characters in my HBO shows that I watch
And he
do.
browses Reddit.
Yeah, they get
/ r atheism.
they have all the same opinions as New York
Bard?
Times, and
Large chickens.
they watch all of the popular shows and they have all of the cool streaming services and they take all the cool drugs and their life is defined by all the cool dopamine fixes, all the cool materialistic things that give you a substitute for happiness. And so that must be what smart people do. No, it's not Varg. Fuck no, it's not Varg. Are you kidding me?
To be
Mark-
frank, I've never watched Varg, so I don't
No, Varg's this like heavy metal, not heavy metal, like death metal, black metal musician who is famous now for like being having like pagan opinions, political opinions. No,
Whoa. He has non-mainstream beliefs. That's epic.
He has some vaguely non-mainstream beliefs, and he's retarded. I equate him with all those people on /poll who are like, oh, you're a Christian, you worship a Jewish god. I worship Thor like my white ancestors. You're not a real white man because you're a Christian. Half of them are probably freaking shills anyway.
But
Oh.
the other half are people who follow Varg on Twitter or whatever he posts on.
Well, Paul is mostly glowies anyway.
Yeah, it's probably glowies. The glowies have
It's just
recognized.
different glowies fighting each other.
No, the glowies have recognized Christianity as a threat. After Terry Davis, they realized that their enemy lay in Christians, and they have to get rid of Christians, and so they have this push to to convince alt-right people that they're not based if they're a Christian.
Alt-right. I don't
Yep,
like
you're-
that term.
No, it's the term alt-right was coined by the Hillary Clinton campaign, I'm pretty sure. So I've never accepted it. I've never referred to myself as that.
Now these deplorables, they don't
They're
want
not
me to
like
be
normal
president.
conservatives. They're not like reasonable conservatives like Mitt Romney and John McCain,
Liz Cheney.
Liz Cheney. These are
I heard
fringe.
Liz Cheney's gonna change sides.
Go to the Democrats.
Yeah,
That's what Mitt Romney better do.
that's what
That's what.
can you just change your beliefs? Will anyone buy that?
Well, when
I really
people
had a change of heart.
when
about
people
that.
talk about them, Liz Cheney or Romney now, anytime you hear somebody say, "Oh yeah, I think they're pretty reasonable," it's literally always a liberal. I assume as 2024 gets closer, Romney's gonna start, leaning back into trying to trying to rebrand himself as a conservative again. But hopefully people have wised up to it by now. He's always been fake. When he was governor of Massachusetts, I think he was pro-choice, pro a bunch of gun restrictions and a whole bunch of other liberal stuff. Because he's fake. He'll just do whatever. Gets him the votes. Oh, you haven't even been playing the game lately. I should have switched it back to our super funny thumbnail.
Got him. X3.
Yeah. Okay, well, that
You
was
got
pretty cool.
pranked.
I hope it wasn't weird
Bitch.
with all that stuff we talked about.
Oh, it was.
It was weird, but it was also entertaining, hopefully.
But maybe weird is good.
Maybe weird is good.
Keep Portland weird. X3.
Yeah, not
If
that
someone
kind of
has that on their car, you should follow them into their house and
weird.
kill them. Not in real life in Minecraft.
I'm coming
Don't do that in real life.
No, in real life!
In Minecraft.
We should release Sam Hyde in Portland and end it once and for all. Okay,
Give him a flamethrower.
I think we'll call it. Oh, he doesn't need a flamethrower. He can use his natural weapons. And Portland will fall.
I don't know. I saw his fight. He uses the wait for him to tire out after he hits you a bunch, and then
Yeah, this is Portland
really
we're
hard.
talking about, though. He'll just knock
Yeah.
over all their houses.
he'll throw a Molotov at you.
He'll
Though.
eat them all alive. Although I suppose if you eat too many people from Portland, if Sam Hyde went to Portland and he started killing and eating the men in Portland, his estrogen level might go up and he might lose some of his rage power. His manly rage power. Anyway. But maybe weird is good sometimes, as long as it's not Portland. Okay, we will call it with that. We'll see you guys maybe next week, or maybe never, or maybe the glowies will come kill me soon. But then I'll see you in the after.